Serving their community is who they are because they love where they live. REMAX 3D Real Estate is proud to bring you Heart of Royse City, a video series dedicated to celebrating all the wonderfully great things about Royse City, Texas. On every episode, Denisha Denny will share Royse City's story through the stories of the people who call Royse City home. This is Heart of Royse City.
Thank you so much for watching Heart of Royse City, where we get to hear the stories behind the wonderfully great people of our community. I asked Jennifer Pizana to come on the show because I love the well, and I could not wait to hear her story. Here's our conversation with Jen. Hey y'all, I'm Denisha Denny, your host for Heart of Royse City. We are sitting at the well in downtown Royse City with the owner, Miss Jen Pizana. How are you today, Jen?
I'm great. Thank you, Denisha.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come on our show. We are so excited to hear your story. So the Heart of Royse City, the purpose is for other people to be able to hear the stories of the people who live and work here. And I could not think of a better place to kick this off in Royse City than the well.
Aw, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I recently got to know you, really just recently, but I've actually been coming to the well for years. It's one of my favorite places to come to. It's just when you walk in the door, you feel like you're in a different place, and there's so much serenity when you come in. There have been times that I've had a crazy busy day, and I just needed a minute to sit, enjoy the coffee or the tea or grab a quick lunch, but when you come here, you can just completely reset. So I just want you to know, before we kick this off, how much the well has meant to me personally. So thank you so much for that.
I love that because that is totally what we were going for, was just an escape and a place for people to just be.
That's awesome. Well, Jen, tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up? And tell us how did the well come about? How did you get to Royse City? And let's just hear your story. So start us off at the beginning.
Okay. Well, my sister and I own the well together. My sister Carrie and I. And we grew up in Minnesota, in southern Minnesota, actually Austin, the home of Hormel and Spam. So Spam Town, USA. Something
fun.
to be proud of. But it's just your typical small town, factory town. If Hormel wasn't there, the town wouldn't be there.
Oh, wow.
But just a great place to grow up, very family-oriented community. And we loved Minnesota, but I came down here to go to college, and Carrie came down after she graduated college. And
now tell me, where did you go to college?
So I went to UTA in Arlington.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. How did you get from Minnesota to UTA?
I just wanted to leave small town and pick Texas. I had actually never even been to Texas.
Really?
So I just came down on my own.
What attracted you to Texas?
It's Texas. I really pictured tumbleweeds and, the whole longhorn cattle. Didn't really see that right away, but I really did I just really felt like I needed to come to Texas.
So what attracted you then to UTA? Since, you kind of had a broad spectrum of, okay, I want to go to Texas. Like, how did you narrow that down to Arlington?
Yeah, we looked at a few colleges, my parents and I, and UTA was more affordable than some of the others we had looked at. It was easy to DFW for
so you could fly
visiting,
home.
Yeah, for those purposes. Yeah, and it was they had a great business program, and I was a business major, journalism minor.
Okay.
So, yeah, it just all fell into place. So much of everything looking back now has just been God's plan.
That's awesome. Yes. So where did your sister graduate from?
And she graduated from St. Cloud State in Minnesota.
Okay.
And then came down right after college, and she's a teacher.
Okay.
And I worked... I started during college working with American Airlines, since the headquarters is right there. So I started with American Airlines. She was a teacher for many years, and I was with American for 16 years.
What did you do for American Airlines?
I was in their management program.
Okay.
I was a director of operations. So I was at headquarters, and actually was out on maternity leave during 9/11. So when that happened, of course, that just kind of blew up everything as far as needing to get back to work. And so my mom stayed with my son at the time so I could go back. And I guess it was about a year after 9/11, the airlines just really suffered, of course. So American started offering packages and I took a 10-year leave so I could be home with the kids.
Oh, wow. What does a 10-year leave mean?
So 10-year leave of absence.
Okay.
With flight benefits. So I was
wow.
okay, I could
get to
do
be
that.
a stay-at-home mom and have flight benefits.
Right.
Not
Exactly.
a bad deal.
It was a great deal, a great company. I will always have a place in my heart for them. They gave me most of my training to be able to manage my own business.
Wow. And that says a lot about them, honestly, to give that to you. I mean, that
yeah.
says a lot about their culture and who they
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
It's actually refreshing to hear that,
Yeah.
or, you know, the large corporate businesses and what you think about. But that
Yeah.
was great that they did that for
Sometimes
you.
I miss it, you know, putting on the suit and all that, but then I think, well, the commute and putting on the suit, no, I'm okay.
Was it a hard transition to go from being a career woman to a stay-at-home mom?
It was. Yeah, it was just feeling, well, and also just feeling like I should be there because of what was happening in
Right.
the industry. So there was a lot of emotion around it. And then after the 10 years was up, that was a big struggle of what to do. We had the coffee shop by then. So it was, man, do I go back? Because there was that yearning and missing kind of the hustle and bustle of the corporate world, and running my own campaigns and everything. But this was my baby. So
at that point, you had opened the well, and this started becoming that for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, how long were you a stay-at-home mom before you opened the well?
Oh, goodness. Geez, probably, I'm going to say about 4 years.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
stayed home for 4 years.
Yeah, I did like a lot of prep for the well. So let's
Okay.
just say the well was in the making. Because I had worked for the airline for so long, it'd been a long time since I'd been in the restaurant world. So I did 1 year, I went back and just worked in a great fun little diner in Wiley, and spent exactly 1 year there. And then I went and spent exactly 1 year at one of the big corporate coffee shops. And they were wonderful to me. And when I went in and applied, I didn't even drink coffee. So I told him exactly what I was hoping to do. I wanted to open my own coffee shop, wine bistro, and the manager took me under his wing for that year and really, really gave me a great knowledge of the coffee world.
So you intentionally worked at the diner and the coffee shop a year at both places
Yes.
on purpose before you opened the well.
Absolutely, yes.
That is incredible to do that. I mean, that's dedication to.
Well, I really felt it was required to even consider being successful.
And did that come from your business planning and development that you had gained at the American Airlines?
Yeah, a lot of the campaigns that I was over, being a Fortune 500 company, I had roughly 800 employees under me. So just knowing what it takes to manage even just that amount of employees, and then to downsize to only having a small business, and there's just as many challenges with that as trying to run a large corporation, because it's opposite pretty much. And you don't have as many brains to throw in there to help you out when you're
Yes.
struggling. So.
I know. You need that mastermind
Yeah.
opportunity,
Oh.
especially when you're up against a struggle or a decision. And so that's, but I am so impressed that you took that time. That says so much about
Thank you.
Because people today are not very patient. And that took a lot of patience to choose to work in those two different businesses to make sure you were set up for success for the well.
Yeah.
So let's transition. Tell me, where did that dream come from? Where did that idea come from?
Well, so like I said, my sister Carrie was a teacher. And so the well actually started through a tragedy. So Carrie was married to Rick, and they are Disney fanatics, like they have Mickey ears coming out of their heads. So the two of them and their two little boys at the time were on their way to Disney, and were in a horrible car accident, and Rick was killed. And the boys were very little at the time. And so I was still over at that time by DFW. So within a year of him passing, my husband and I knew that we needed to get closer. They lived in Wiley.
Okay.
So within a year, we knew that we needed to live closer so we could help support her, help with the boys, and just be family.
Right.
We needed to not be an hour and a half away from each other. So we even moved in on her and lived with her for a while till we could get our bearings and know where we wanted to settle. And
that had to be a really special time. I mean,
it was.
First of all, I am
was,
so sorry
yeah.
for your loss. I can't even imagine that. Your life changes instantly. And
it does.
And then it breaks your heart for your sister and
Absolutely.
for your nephews. And so.
Yeah, and you just don't know where everything's going to go. But, you know, we've talked about it many times. We look back now. The well would not be here were it not for Rick's legacy. Because...
that gives me chills.
Yeah, just through... you know, money she received through insurance and stuff like that. And the company he worked for was amazing to her, took care of her and the boys. So she actually approached me and said, hey, you know, I don't want to just, I mean, she took care of their financial needs, of course, but she was like, I don't want to just donate this money. What if we invested it in something and did something together? And something that could become a part of our family for our kids. And so we literally sat down at the kitchen table and put pen to paper and started thinking about, okay, what do we want to do? And
wow, you had a blank slate.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, we started from being moms, too. We started at daycare, quickly rolled that out. We're like, okay, no, we don't want to raise anybody else's kids. So then we just started talking about Minnesota. What do we miss about Minnesota being down here? Or what's missing?
What's missing?
And what we really felt was missing in Minnesota, I guess because of the weather, there's little neighborhood pubs on virtually every corner. And it's just where people commune. It's where you can, you know, it's kind of like Cheers.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, it really is, though. You have that, and it's a bar, but it's not about the bar. It's just where you go to meet up with friends and family, where you feel a part of something.
Right, where you feel like you belong.
Exactly. And so we just felt that missing here. Not necessarily in Royse City. At that time, we weren't plugged in on Royse City. We didn't even know about it, but... So we just started fostering that idea and started looking for buildings. We knew we wanted to buy a building and invest in a building. So initially we looked at Rockwall, actually on the square. But I'll be honest, for every door that closed there, Royse City doors just kept opening. And at the time, most people in town know Carrie Hollifield.
Yes.
And she actually worked for the city of Royse City. When we first met her, she was the first person we met. Oh. And Larry Lott was here at the time. And they were wonderful to us. They really took us by the hand. I mean, we were clueless, I'll be honest. We had never had our own business, started up a business. So they were huge in our upstart and success.
That's awesome. So did you just drive into Royse City one day and start looking? Like how you just...
My sister saw it on somewhere that there was a building for sale. And I had honestly already told her. I said, Carrie, you know, it's just not going anywhere because, like I said, there were several doors that closed in Rockwall.
Right.
We had found a couple of buildings, and it just never worked out. So I was like, you know, it's time. I got to go back to American. So I had pretty much made up my mind. It's just... I'm one of those people, you know, if doors close, God's telling you to do something different.
There's another one open.
That's
you just
right.
have to go find it.
So I just felt like God was saying, you know, it's time to go back to work, time to get back to American. I loved it there, so that was not a bad thing. So I was prepared to go back, and she called me and said, hey, there's one more building. Let's go look at it. And I was like, oh, my gosh, where is it? And she said it's in Royse City. And I was like, where the heck is Royse City? I had never heard of Royse City. And we came into town and looked at the building. And sincerely, we walked in this building and knew.
And just knew. Oh.
We did.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, I think that's God's way of saying, this is it.
This was it.
And you know that.
Yeah, we did.
It's just such, you get that peace. And I've learned if you walk in somewhere and you're struggling, it's not the one. That's not the one.
Oh, right.
When you walk in and you know, and you have that peace, then that's how you know that door is open.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
Well, we, let's see, that would have been like 2007. Because we had the building about a year. When we bought this building, it was actually a consignment store.
Okay.
So we gutted it. In fact, this beautiful wall had sheetrock over top of it, and we didn't even know it was there. We found one of the back closets, some of the sheetrock had fallen off, and we were like, oh my goodness, there is a brick wall back there. So we bought 2 little electric chisels, and so literally our blood, sweat, and tears are on this wall from chiseling all of that off to get to the original brick.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things here.
Oh, well, and that's why we don't put a lot of pictures or anything. It just means a lot to us, this wall.
It does. It's like a jewel. It was like a little diamond in the rough. You didn't even know was there, like a bonus.
Exactly.
That is so cool. And there is something special about the way it feels that makes it feel so warm and cozy when you're here.
It's cozy. It's and that's, again, from when we first started talking. We just wanted people to be able to come and feel a sense of peace and a place to get away. We have a lot of business people that come in, especially right now with COVID, working from home. Right. They can come here and get a change of scenery.
Yes.
You know, have some coffee and even just be around other people for a while.
It is. And I've brought clients here before. You know, it's just a great place to meet. And so I'm so thankful that it's here.
Yeah.
Tell us this. How did you come up with the name The Well?
Okay, well, great question. So obviously you can tell we're believers.
Yes.
And so, again, we got the pen to paper and just started writing down lots of different names. And it really just came to us that, you know, back in the day of Jesus, what did women do? They met at the well. And they would all get there, and we just were imagining, you know, that it wasn't all just, there was probably a lot of gossip going on and, you know, making fun of each other and sarcasm and cutting up and just having those friends that you met up with every morning and kind of helped you get through the day. And hence the well. The women at the well, and we have a picture in the back, the women at the well with Jesus.
Oh, I love that so much. And I'm sure that was their place to reset their souls.
Exactly.
You know? So, I mean, we just need that with other women sometimes, especially when we're struggling, but even when we're happy and we have, and great things are going on.
Absolutely.
We want to celebrate with our friends. And so I love that. I always wondered what does the well mean? And so now I know. I love that so much. Thank you. How did you determine what you were going to serve, what it was going to look like on the inside? What was your inspiration for all of that?
So we knew we wanted to do a coffee shop. Kind of, again, with the Minnesota flair, we wanted to do like a pub, but without the alcohol in the beginning, just because, not that we had anything against it, just it's a lot to take on. We've had other friends that have owned bars, and there's just a lot that comes with that. Right. So we decided, let's just do a coffee bar. And down the road, we considered and ended up for our 10-year anniversary actually bringing on beer and wine. So that's been a fun addition.
I bet.
But so originally it was just going to be coffee with a few homemade pastries, recipes that we had. But we then decided, hey, we do need some munchies, food for people to eat. And the exciting thing is the well has really, the food has taken on a life of its own. So for a coffee shop, you would think probably our mornings would be our busiest time of the day. And certainly we do a great breakfast and everything. But our panini grilled sandwiches, everything's fresh and made to order. So it's a great alternative to fast food for folks. So we do a really busy lunch, a lot of carry-out lunches. People call in, and we have it ready and waiting for them.
That's perfect. I love your sandwiches, but your salads, they're it's exactly what you said. They are so fresh every single time. Yeah. It's consistent. And so I always know whenever we're going to go to the well, this is what I'm going to have.
You have to try new things.
I know. Yes, I do. I do venture
Try
out.
a different sandwich next time.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. So, and I love your coffees and your teas and all the
Yeah.
extras that you have. What inspired you to bring on the beer and wine later? Because I know that I remember when you added that. Is that also when you added the live music? Because I know pre-COVID you had some happy hour type things.
Yeah, so we actually did the live music from day one.
Okay.
And it's always been such a great success. So we did everything from bigger bands, which we quickly had to kind of nip because we just didn't have the acoustics for that. So then we really did just transition more to acoustic type stuff. But yeah, so live music, and I had always played with the idea of bringing on especially wine because to me the place has the feel of a wine bar.
It does.
And our nights, as a coffee bar, I'll be honest, the nights were slower.
Right.
So it's like if we're going to be open at night, we kind of need to look at as a business and being successful and growing and changing. You always want to evolve. We need a way to bring in more business in the evening. And at that time, too, what's been wonderful to see over our 13 years is Royse City downtown growing. So for our 10-year anniversary, we decided let's celebrate and bring on beer and wine.
That's awesome.
So-
I noticed that you carry Landon's wine.
We do.
How did that come about?
Well, I love Landon's wine. Yellow Rose is my favorite. And they're right here. We knew that we wanted to highlight Texas wines.
Yes.
And we decided let's start small. We can always add, but let's not go crazy because it's a learning process. And so we went and talked to Landon's, and they were wonderful, and again held us by the hand and showed us a lot of things about wine, and so they're great. So we were happy to partner with them.
That's great. I do enjoy Landon's wine as well, and I love that like you said, it's Texas wine, and they're local. They're here in the area, so I think that's awesome that you're supporting that local vibe as well. Which you actually made that perfect. So one of the things that we talk about on Heart of Royse City is what you love about Royse City. So I can tell your eyes light up when you talk about Royse City. So tell us what you love about this sweet little town.
Okay, well, we've been here the 13 years that we've owned the well. And we actually, when we first moved here, just rented a home for a year. Something about a year with me. I don't know what.
I'm noticing that's a consistent thing with you.
But we rented a home just because we wanted to get a lay of the land. What's so cool about Royse City is it seems like you can go miles in any direction and you're still in Royse City.
Yes.
So there's lots of potential there for growth. But we didn't know, do we want to live in town, out of town? And we were at that time then moving from the Wiley area. So we just started looking around during that year, and we ended up buying one of the old homes here in town. Our home was built in 1905. It's one of the older homes in town, and it's a money pit, but we love it. It's so much character, and we've redone most of it. So
Did your sister move here also?
Yeah, well, Carrie lives in Fate.
Okay.
So she bought a home in Fate, and so we're just minutes, and that's wonderful too. We can be here within minutes if anything's going on.
That's awesome. What are some of the activities that you get involved with downtown, or some of the things that you plug into?
Yeah, we're involved in pretty much anything going on downtown. Being here 13 years, I like to say we're one of the anchors downtown. Yes. So we're really big with Royse City ISD. We always do a lot with and for the teachers and administration, a lot of catering, a lot of special events, donations. Also with the Rotary Club and the Chamber hosting different events. And Royse City really has become such a family to us. So hosting those events is like having your family and friends over. So we love opening our doors to whatever's going on.
That's so awesome. And you recently hosted one of the Chamber After Hours events.
Yeah, the Mix and Mingle is always fun. Because of COVID, we were actually closed at the time, but I think it kind of made it even just more personal since the public wasn't here that evening. It was just nice because it was really coming off the one of the first times I think everybody was able to get together.
Right.
And so we had it here and had like a little wine party with a charcuterie board. And so it was really nice for people to just get to see each other again and catch up.
Yes, and we're so thankful for those opportunities when they do
Absolutely.
come up. How was it experiencing COVID with having a restaurant during that season when it was really, more locked down? What were some of your feelings and emotions through some of that?
Yeah, I think with most small business owners, there was fear and frustration just of a lack of information. But, it's everybody. We ended up just my sister and I working. All the employees were furloughed. And we were only allowed, if you recall, to do carry out. So people would call in. We had notes on the doors. People could call in their order, and we would literally we had stations set up inside where folks would then have a station when they walked in. They would pick up their food. They'd already paid over the phone. They'd pick up their food, so it was completely no contact.
That's awesome.
So, but it worked. I mean, we stayed above water, so we're
What a
thankful to
blessing.
be here.
I was going to say, God blessed you again and
Yes,
saw
he
you
has.
through that.
He has.
So you've been in business for 13 years now. So do you have any new ideas coming up? Are you working on any projects or just being consistent and continuing to serve the community the way you do today?
I think right now it's just trying to revamp. COVID gave us some time to really look at the business without some blinders on that,
Right.
You just do the day-to-day and you do really get blinders.
Yes.
So it kind of gave us that opportunity being here every day, just Carrie and I, to look at, okay, what's working and what's not working.
Right.
So yeah, there's going to be some changes. Probably not menu-wise or anything like that, more just what are we going to do with the evenings. Right now, we're just on reduced hours since the occupancy levels through the governor. But we're really liking that 7 to 2, being open for breakfast and lunch. Maybe during the week, we're considering staying with that and just being open on weekends in the evening.
Right.
For the live music. And maybe not even doing live music. I don't know.
You don't know.
We're playing with
Well,
that.
the fun thing is we all get to stay tuned
Yeah,
and see
right?
what you're going to do.
Right.
There's so many great things going on in downtown.
Yes.
It's going to change the landscape of
Yeah.
downtown and what weekends look like here and what evenings look like here. I was here on a Friday night. Actually, it was last Friday night. And it was incredible how busy it was.
Oh.
People everywhere.
Yeah, you can't find a place to park, right?
Which is a wonderful
but
problem.
that's a wonderful thing. Any given night of the week now, and again, being here as long as we have, we remember the nights where it was a ghost town.
Yes.
So to be able to look out and see cars and people up and down Main Street and, people, anytime a new business opens, people will ask us, okay, are you guys worried about that? No. The more downtown, the better for everybody.
Yes.
It just draws more and more people. And now we're even starting to draw people from outside the Royse City community that, hey, let's go check out this little town
Yes.
and what it has to offer. So I only see great things, maybe some B&Bs in the future of Royse City to give people a weekend little getaway, because now we really do have where you can come downtown and dine, do a little bar hopping.
Yes.
It's got so much to offer with the breweries and some of the new places that are about to open.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, I want to ask you my final question.
Okay.
It's your pop question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received, and how have you applied it?
Okay, wow. Best piece of advice I have received. I'm going to have to say patience and perseverance. Something I think my dad really honed into both of us was that hard work and perseverance and being patient goes a long way. And we've certainly been patient and we've certainly persevered to still be here. The first years of any business, you have those tummy aches of worrying constantly if you're going to make it. So we're glad we're over that hump.
Yes.
But yeah, just to continue to persevere and evolve and be patient in that.
That's awesome. You know what? Your dad would be so proud
Aw,
because you have
thanks.
done that.
He did a lot of painting in here, so
That's sweet.
yeah, he's still here too.
That's awesome. Well, he's built a legacy in you, and you're continuing to do that and sharing that with others. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on The Heart of Royse City. It means so much for you to share your story. I was admired from the beginning, and now I know the story, and I love it even more. So thank you for that, and it's really cool to see how out of tragedy, God really does bring amazing things to life.
He does,
so
absolutely.
Britt gets to live on through the legacy that you're building. So thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you, Danisha.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching Heart of Royse City. This video series, which is designed to celebrate Royse City, Texas, is spearheaded by REMAX 3D Real Estate.